Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. So in today's video, we're going to be going over a quick update on Social Security reform. We're going to be going over the two main plans currently out there and just giving a quick update on both of those. In addition to that, we're also going to be going over the payment schedule for Social Security beneficiaries in the month of April and why one group of people on Social Security won't be receiving any payment next month. We're going to be going over why. Now, before we dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out just real quickly by giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so just a quick update on Social Security reform. Like I just mentioned, there are currently two different plans out there. These are sort of the two main ones that have the best chance of passing. The first one is actually in a form of a bill now, which is re-released in 2023 with a new Congress by Bernie Sanders. It's called the Social Security Expansion Act. Now, this bill will need to go through certain committees before it's even voted on, and then likely it will be voted on this in the Senate. Whether or not it passes, we will just have to wait and see. Now, the other proposal that's currently out there has not yet been written into a bill, so that one still has a long way to go. It's sort of being talked about. However, this one is bipartisan, unlike the Social Security Expansion Act, which is mainly having support from Democrats like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, people like that. This one, however, is being built by people on both sides of the aisle. So we have Republicans like Bill Cassidy, and then we have independents like Angus King, who is caucusing with the Democrats. So they hope that they can get enough people on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, and whenever this does become a bill, they can actually have enough votes for this thing to actually pass. So right now, one of the main concepts in this bill is to have a sovereign wealth fund. So they're going to start out with $1.5 trillion in borrowed funds, and they're going to have this in sort of like a stock market and hope to have some sort of growth. They're hoping for around 8% per year. So then over time, they will see a lot of growth from the $1.5 trillion. So then over, let's say, like 70 years, they'll have enough money built up from the invested funds and the growth where they can pay off the $1.5 trillion that they borrowed. And then whatever, I guess, is remaining, they will put back into the Social Security Trust Fund, which will help keep everything solvent and pay off Social Security beneficiaries for years to come. Now, before I ramble on and explain Cassidy's plan even further, I'm going to go ahead and play a clip where Cassidy is with Larry Kudlow, and he talks a little bit about his plan. Watch.
You, on the other hand, have a much more interesting solution. Please tell us about it.
Yeah, so we had created a fund separate from Social Security, totally separate, and we'd invest in it and allow that money to be in a diversified portfolio.
Yep.
Think stock market, and it rises. Now, the risk is only on the fund. The beneficiary gets everything she's been promised, so she has no risk whatsoever. You hold it in escrow for 70 years, you allow the rate of return on the rate of return, and you're able to get to the point where you can bridge Social Security to where it actually works. Now, that's our goal. We'd bring that to the president. There's other things you might have to do. Those are subject to negotiation. But this is the core.
Point is, this is a market-oriented approach, point number one. You can make use of the good multiples. I mean, stocks for the long run. Jeremy Siegel, Burt Malkiel, they've all been on this show. Point number two, as I understand it, you're saying, okay, if the market stuff doesn't work, you're still going to be guaranteed. But if the market stuff does work, over time, you'll shuttle those returns into the system for the beneficiaries? Is that right?
You'll allow a rate of return for a period of time. You get the doubling effect, the rule of 72. And so at the end, it looks like a tulip because the fund grows, 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 and then it just really grows. And you hold it in escrow until it hits that point, and then you pay off everything that you've had to borrow to pay those benefits, and maybe even you forever take care of the fund.
Do you have to borrow for the escrow fund?
You do have to borrow for the escrow
initially.
fund. Yes.
And that would, I don't want too many details, but you'd say some chunk would have to be borrowed. And this would be run by trustees.
Correct.
Right?
Totally arm's
length from the system itself, arm's length from the politicians, arm's length from everything.
Yes. And you penalize anybody who tries to mess with it. And we would audit it every year and put those audits online so the American people can say, this looks like it's being run well. People like you would pour through it to make sure that it was really being run well. The American people have to have confidence.
Now, some of the problems that Cassidy so far has faced with his plan, the bipartisan one with Angus King, is that bipartisan group has actually tried to meet up with President Biden himself. I guess they met up with some of Biden's staffers, but they say it's very important that they actually meet with President Biden himself, because without President Biden's stamp of approval, there's really no way they can get this thing done, at least according to them. So up to today, at least, Biden has pretty much dodged the request to meet with him. So in an interview with CNN, Cassidy makes his frustrations pretty clear. Watch.
Okay. One thing you've been talking about in the midst of this is Social Security, and you've said you believe Social Security is the SVB of those kind of healthcare systems. Tell me what you mean by that, because I know you've been talking to Senator Angus King and other senators about what a plan to extend and shore up Social Security would look like.
Yeah, so right now Social Security has low yielding assets. We're in treasury bills, which might be, and cash, which might be, the T-bills might be, the treasuries might be yielding 1 to 2 to 3%. And we're in a high inflation environment. The Social Security Trust Fund is going broke in 9 years. The president knows that, but he keeps telling the American people it's no problem. He has not told us what he wants to do. It is going broke in 9 years. At that point, there'll be a 25% cut. And with someone who's depending on Social Security, a 25% cut in what they're getting, and the president doesn't seem to care.
Well, I mean, the White House would push back on that, I should say,
How?
because
What is their plan? What is their? He's not announced a plan.
Well, if I interviewed Shalonda Young, the White House budget director, on Sunday. We talked about the White House budget and how they talked about protecting Social Security.
Now, how did they protect it? Because yesterday she was asked in committee, and she could not give an answer about their plan. Well, the president's willing to let this go bankrupt because he doesn't want to talk about it before his reelection. It is irresponsible, it is foolish, and it is wrong for the American people.
So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that proposal, whether or not it even makes its way into the form of a bill and then has a chance of passing. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, as far as the Social Security payment schedule for the month of April, we're going to go over that real quickly. So if we look at the payment schedule for April, which will be up on the screen, on the 3rd, for those of you who have received Social Security before May of 1997, or if you're receiving both Social Security and SSI, you'll be receiving your Social Security payment on April 3rd. Now, usually for those of you on SSI, you would be getting your payment on April 1st, on the 1st of the month. But next month, you actually won't be receiving any payments in the month of April. This is why, because April 1st, that's going to be actually falling on a Saturday. And anytime the 1st of a month falls on a Saturday, a Sunday, or a holiday, you're going to be receiving your SSI payment the business day before. So in this case, you're actually going to be receiving the day earlier on a Friday. Now, Friday is actually going to be falling on March 31st. So yes, indeed, you're actually going to be receiving 2 payments this month in March, but you're not going to be receiving a single payment in the month of April. So here in just about a week, you're going to be receiving your 2nd payment this month, but you're not going to be receiving anything until all the way until May 1st. Again, that's because April 1st is going to be falling on a Saturday, so you're just going to be receiving your April payment one day earlier in the month of March. Now, as far as the rest of the payments go, they'll be going out on April 12th, April 19th, and April 26th, depending entirely on your birth date. So if your birth date is on the 1st through the 10th of the month, your payment will be distributed on Wednesday, April 12th. If your birth date is on the 11th through the 20th, your payment in that case will be distributed on Wednesday, April 19th. And then the final payment will be going out on Wednesday, April 26th. And this payment will be going to those of you with a birth date between the 21st through the 31st of any given month. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. It was short and sweet. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could go ahead and give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.